He had a technical question that had been bothering him all along, so he went to a cotton processing factory, hoping to verify if the problem was with the cotton. After testing with professional equipment, the problem was indeed with the cotton. The cotton Lack made was ordinary cotton, while imported sanitary pads used cellulose fibers. When he tried to ask about the cellulose production method, the factory workers couldn't help him. It was beyond their knowledge. Hope faded once again, but Lack didn't stop. His next stop was a technical institute. He wanted to find the brightest minds in the country and unlock the academic door to answers.
जी ज्ञान चाहिए।
थोड़ा ज्ञान चाहिए तो कॉलेज में चेक भरो, और पूरा ज्ञान चाहिए तो ट्यूशन में कैश भरो।
जी मुफ्त में चाहिए तो
Lack couldn't afford tuition fees, so he was willing to work as a servant for university professors. From dawn till dusk, he took on all the chores, sweeping, washing dishes, picking up and dropping off kids, cooking, doing laundry. He did everything meticulously, without a single complaint. This simple perseverance gradually won over the professor's son. When he learned about Lack's troubles, he took the initiative to turn on his computer to help search for information. Through the search, they found an American company that specialized in selling cellulose. Using the contact information provided, Lack asked for some free samples, claiming he needed them for entrepreneurial purchases. Soon the samples arrived at Lack's hands by International Logistics. When he eagerly opened the package, he found nothing but some white cardboard inside. Lack thought the manufacturer had sent the wrong samples. Disappointed, he threw the cardboard on the ground. The professor's dog saw it and started playing with it out of curiosity. After being scratched by the dog's paws, the hard cardboard gradually became fluffy, unfolding into a soft cotton-like texture. Just as Lack bent down to take a closer look, the professor pushed the door open and witnessed this magical scene. Deeply touched, Lack finally mustered up the courage to tell his entire story. His experience of developing sanitary pads out of love only to face humiliation and betrayal filled the scholar with deep admiration. The professor immediately opened the academic database and pulled up professional equipment drawings for him. However, the 10-meter-long, 500-ton behemoth on the screen, along with its multi-million-dollar price tag, was like a bucket of cold water, dousing the flame of hope Lack had just ignited. After seeing the price, the professor also advised him to return to a normal life and give up this idea. But Lack was inspired by this video. He rented an abandoned warehouse and, based on the principle of the giant machine, started his micro-revolution. He realized the entire process was nothing more than grinding, compressing, mixing, packaging, and sterilization. 4 core steps. He only needed 4 small and cheap machines to complete each step separately and get the job done. Funding was the primary problem. Faced with a penniless Lack, the moneylender coldly rejected his loan application. Yet again, Lack showed incredible resilience. He knelt down to massage the moneylender's back, poured tea in water, persevering day after day with the humblest servant skills. Perseverance prevails where force fails. He finally borrowed his first startup capital, and the transformation journey began. Referring to the principle of ordinary grinders, he built an enlarged grinding device. Using a lever structure, he designed a simple manual press to complete the compression. Again, posing as an entrepreneur, he called TGD and secured non-woven fabric samples. He then assembled a mixing and packaging machine using screw steel pipes and iron sheets. Finally, drawing on dental ultraviolet sterilization technology, he made his own sterilization equipment. When the first self-made sanitary pad came out of it, with a texture identical to imported products, a long-lost smile finally appeared on Lack's face. But the familiar dilemma struck again. No women were willing to test it, making all his success nothing but paper talk. Just as Lack was at a loss in the warehouse, fate brought him face to face with a woman who would change his life. Perry late at night. This highly educated, open-minded urban woman got her period during a concert. But all clinics were closed late at night. Stranded on an empty street, not knowing what to do, she happened to run into Lack, who couldn't sleep. Perry's assistant hurriedly asked him for help.
भाई साहब सुनिए, वो अभी कोई मेडिकल खुला होगा क्या?
नहीं।
अच्छा, आपके घर में बीवी, बहन, कोई औरत है?
आपको चाहिए क्या?
एक्चुअली वो हमारी फ्रेंड कार में, वो हम मेडिकल ढूंढ रहे थे, वो अचानक से लेडीज की प्रॉब्लम है, वो हम सब भूल गए तो
कार्ड चाहिए?
मिल गया? कार्ड मिल गया? रिया चलो, लेट्स गो।
ठीक है कि नहीं, कल पता चलेगा।
Lack didn't sleep all night, waiting outside the hotel where Perry was staying, eager to get feedback on the sanitary pad as soon as possible. When Perry replied that it was no different from imported sanitary pads sold on the market, Lack burst into tears. The long accumulated hardships, humiliation, and loneliness crushed all his defenses at that moment. This man, who had been spurned by the entire village but never shed a tear, finally in the dawn of success, wept uncontrollably like a child. Looking at this strange man, Perry was confused, completely unable to understand this sudden outburst of emotion. After leaving, Lack called his wife immediately, wanting to share the joy of success with her and hoping this good news would be a turning point to repair their relationship. But on the other end of the line, it was a completely different world. His wife's brother was forcefully shoving a divorce agreement in front of her, pressuring her to sign it. Still in love with Lak, his wife refused to sign. Listening to Lak's call, she didn't feel happy about his success. Instead, she cried in dissatisfaction.
सोच समय चुका के आ जाऊंगा। गायत्री तू बहुत खुश होगी। तू बस गायत्री
गायत्री तू सुन रही है गायत्री?
इतने वक्त के बाद मैं कैसे उन्हें पूछा?
हेलो गायत्री
बस वो पैड
हेलो
नहीं बदलेगा, वो नहीं
रक्षा के लिए बनाया
बदलेगा।
मैंने।
तू बस गायत्री
गायत्री से अब तुम्हारा कोई रिश्ता नहीं रहा। तलाक के कागजात पहुंच जाएंगे।
After hanging up the phone, Lak felt as if his soul had been drained. The success he had long awaited only brought a firm divorce notice from his wife's brother. Dazed, he walked mechanically towards the warehouse, only to find Perry already waiting at the door. Looking at the strange man in front of her, she curiously asked the question on her mind. Why did you want to make these pads? Needing to vent, Lak told her the whole story in detail. To make affordable sanitary pads, Lak had fallen into debt, lost his wife, mother, and all his self-respect. Looking at the machines Lak had obtained at such a heavy cost in the warehouse, Perry was deeply shocked. Before leaving, she gave Lak one last piece of advice. If one side of the sanitary pad was adhesive, it would be easier to fix in place. After returning home, Perry told her father about this. As a university professor, her father knew well how valuable Lak's invention was. He immediately told his daughter to contact Lak, urging him to bring his machines and equipment to Delhi for an innovation competition to be held the day after tomorrow. The winner would not only become famous nationwide, but also receive a prize of 200,000 rupees. For Lak, who was in despair, this was undoubtedly a sudden ray of light in the dark night.
आपको पैसे चाहिए ना?
हाँ
500 रुपए दीजिए।
At the competition, Lak stood reverently in front of the jury, demonstrating his invention in accented but sincere English. To the judges, he showed the entire process step by step from cellulose raw materials to finished product packaging. The vivid demonstration transcended language barriers. In India, imported sanitary pads are very expensive, but the ones he made only cost 2 rupees, meaning every family could afford them, and every woman could enjoy basic health and dignity. In the end, the jury was deeply shocked by this revolutionary invention. It was not only a technological innovation, but also a social revolution. Lak's work was awarded the Best Invention Presidential Award, a national honor, higher than the competition championship.
कितना दुबला हो गया है, क्या खाता होगा?
गायत्री
हाँ
कैसे गंदी चीज बनाकर वैज्ञानिक बन गए, कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा।
After the competition, Perry quickly applied for a patent for Lak's invention. She excitedly explained to him that they just needed to wait for major companies to bid, optimize the product design, and launch it on the market. There are over 500 million women in India, but only 12% use sanitary pads. Behind this is a blue ocean that can create huge wealth. Becoming a multi-millionaire was indeed just one step away for Lak now. However, after listening, Lak fell into a long silence. This was not the result he wanted. He originally invented the machine so his wife could use affordable sanitary pads. If he sold the machine at a high price, major companies would definitely raise the price to recover costs and make profits. In that case, his affordable sanitary pads would lose their meaning. Dawn broke and the mist hadn't lifted. Lak left a letter for Perry at the desk. He didn't take the shortcut to wealth, but chose another path, a harder path that returned to his original intention.
एक इंसान के लिए आविष्कार किया था, उसको फायदा नहीं पहुंचा पाया। एक को ना सही कम से कम करोड़ों को तो पहुंचा सकता हूँ। गांव-गांव जाऊंगा, पैड बना के औरतों को दूंगा। मेरी मशीन का काम करोड़ों कमाना नहीं, करोड़ों के काम आना है।
Yet Lak's beautiful vision hit a wall again in the face of reality. Even though the products were high quality and affordable, few people bought the sanitary pads. Just as he was at a loss, a figure came into view. It was Perry, who had been deeply moved. She resolutely decided to become Lak's partner, to jointly fulfill the ideal of making Indian women live with more dignity. Through Perry's efforts in promotion, these affordable sanitary pads soon gained popularity in the villages. It's not that they didn't need them, but that they were ashamed to buy such intimate items from a man. This discovery made Lak suddenly realize a more far-reaching model emerged. They began recruiting rural women to participate in production and sales. This not only brought them income, but also allowed sanitary pads to circulate naturally among women. women. More and more women were touched by this story and took the initiative to join this life-changing movement. Lack further improved the machines, making them so easy to operate that every woman could use them independently. They left the equipment and production lines in the villages, turning them into collective property of local women, forming a virtuous cycle of self-production and self-marketing. Lack and Perry, on the other hand, took the core technology and concepts to the next village in need, like sowing seeds of hope wherever they went. Machines took root in rural India, and affordable sanitary pads flowed into thousands of households. This quiet revolution finally attracted media attention. With continuous TV reports, Lack's story spread across the country. People who had misunderstood him finally realized this madman actually had an angelic heart. On this day, Lack not only won the respect of the whole society, but also received an overseas call from the United Nations. The world finally heard the cry for women's dignity from this ordinary Indian repairman.
This pad.
With the success of his career, Lack faced an emotional dilemma. On one side was his wronged wife, on the other was his female partner who co-founded the business. Perry had secretly fallen in love with Lack during their time together. In the end, Lack rejected Perry's feelings. His love for his wife had never changed. All his efforts had originally stemmed from his love for her. Returning to his original intention was the perfect closure of his character arc. Perry understood his choice, and finally chose to let go and leave. After returning from the United Nations, Lack became a national hero in India. People called him the father of sanitary pads. Lack returned to his hometown, and the villagers all came out to welcome him. Those who had cursed him now looked at him with deep respect. Lack never forgot his original intention. Later, he donated his patent to the country free of charge, so that more Indian women could afford sanitary pads.